April kicks off Financial Literacy Month. I have been focused wholeheartedly on getting more recognition out there, and making sure that everyone knows that the information that you need to create a positive life, to be financially free, to get all of these things that you want out of life. That's what this whole month's been about. So I've been really focused on creating content that can help you get to where you want to be financially, and making sure that you know like exactly what it is, like actually have steps that you can take to get to where you want to be. So I gave Owen a shout out. So my nephew Owen's watching. So I gave him a shout out before I was able to cut the. I've noticed that the music was running. So what's up, Owen? Nephew Owen is watching, so I just wanted to say hey to him. So I want to start off this episode by saying that none of this is easy. I've started off every episode this month when I started this series strictly saying that none of this is easy. It's not going to be easy. But this week is the fun part of all the work that you've done. If you've been following and you've been able to accomplish the things from the previous week's episodes, this is the part where things get a little more fun. Okay, so the things I go over today is all about letting you know that you can do it, and then this is sort of where you can be at when you're done with it. Okay, so go listen to the first 3 episodes in the series if you've missed them. If you found me this week's episode, that's awesome. Listen to this one out, or feel free to start at the beginning. Feel free to start at week 1, and go check that out and see if there's some value that you can just grab from that. Okay, so it's all about, that one was all about creating these goals, right? Building out a plan, and overcoming setbacks. That was really what I focused on the first 3 weeks, and that could be very helpful, especially if you're just getting started. Your journey will be full of setbacks. Your journey will be full of having to readjust your goals. Your journey will be full of having to adjust your plan. So go check out those first 3 episodes out if you missed them. And this one is going to pick up and get us headed in the right direction. Okay. So I'm going to start off by saying this. We're going to go over this whole. You can see the name of the episode. Achieving financial freedom, and so I want to talk about that buzz term. It's a buzz term, right? Everyone uses it. Financial freedom. Everyone has this buzzword. Anyway, Josh, and this. Let me tell you why. So, what was financial freedom? I'm gonna tell you why I consider financial freedom a buzzword. Because if I ask 10 people, hey, what is financial freedom? I am quite sure that I would get 6, maybe even possibly 10 different answers about what actually is financial freedom. So I think it's a buzzword. I think that people sort of overuse it. I think that people use it to describe many of things. So I'm going to tell you how I describe financial freedom, and hopefully this can resonate inside of you, so you can sort of come up with, you can define it for yourself, because financial freedom, in my opinion, is different. It's different for everyone. It's not the same for me as it is for you, as it is for the next person. But financial freedom to me is whatever makes you feel like you are in control of your finances, and you're feeling free of any kind of financial stress that many people feel, right? So for some, they may want this actually like financially free life where they have enough passive income from other sources to where they can quit their job and they can live this life of they've invested a lot of time, a lot of money into building these passive income streams, and now they can quit their job and they can just continue to do other things that they want to do. Some may want to simply be able to retire free of the thoughts of, will I have enough to live? Will I have enough to pay my bills? Will I have enough to retire on? Like those type of things. Maybe that's all it is. You don't mind going to work every day. You just want to have enough to retire on. So by building up a nice retirement nest egg, it's enough to where you can feel like you'll be able to retire at a a reasonable time. And that may be your definition of being financially free. Some may want to choose a career path, regardless of how much money it pays. Like they just want to do something they enjoy. That might be their definition of financially free. They have enough passive income to where they can just choose a career, and it doesn't really matter if it pays a lot or a little, right? And then finally, others may feel free in a sense that they want to take, like, let's say, two times a year travel internationally or something like that. Without feeling like they're moving, taking steps back just to accomplish that. So as you can see, like financial freedom is many things. Financial freedom can be just about anything in reference to finances that allows you to sort of opens the door to allow you to do everything that you want to do with your life without the stress of money getting in the way of achieving those things. So that's how I want you to think about financial freedom. I don't want you to think about this. Everybody's financial freedom is the same. Everybody wants to quit their job. Everybody wants to do XYZ. Not everybody may want to do that, and that's fine. You define what it is to be financially free in your mind, and that's what these four steps are going to get you to. It's helping you to get to that point. All right. So what does it take to get there? And this is this is sort of what we've been building up to, right? In the previous 3 weeks, we discussed setting your financial goals and building that plan and overcoming these setbacks. There are many things that are wrapped into those things, but you've got to accomplish those three things first. And so you've got your plan. Now what? You've built your goals. Now what? Well, this is where many people start to hit those setbacks, and the reason why is because not many people think that. Well, first off, it takes a long time, right? It takes time to do all these things, but so when it's starting to take a little while, and people are starting to give up, or people are not really seeing much progress, they sort of feel like, well, this wasn't for me. That guy didn't know what he was talking about. This isn't for me. I'll never get there. I'll do this. And you start to put yourself down a little bit, right? But if you're thinking that you can never achieve this kind of freedom, I want you to know that you are lying to yourself. You're absolutely telling yourself a lie, because will there be setbacks? 100% positive there's going to be setbacks. 100% positive. But check last week's episode if you missed it, because while those are possible, they're not showstoppers. They're not going to keep you from getting there. You're going to overcome them. I gave you 5 steps last week, 5 tips to overcome those things and move you forward. And that's what I'm going to discuss today. Is like you've started to build these habits of being able to overcome these setbacks. You've got these goals in mind. You've got these plans that you're putting together, or they're put together, and that's the information that you need to get to right here. So bear with me, hang on tight, because we're going to hit 4 super simple steps to get you to the financial freedom that not only do you deserve, but that you want, whatever kind of financial freedom that is. So number one thing is, I want you to budget like you mean it. Budget like you mean it. So I want to tell you that this is where so many people in this world have been set up for failure. They don't have the ability or the knowledge or the strong enough mindset to where they know how to live within their means. All right. And I can see that. Everyone can see that. Look at the statistics. This was Career Builder's stat, by the way, but nearly 4 out of every 5 adults are living paycheck to paycheck. So 4 out of 5 adults are living paycheck to paycheck. And let me debunk some myths, and let me give you a fact. All right. So the myth out there is that you don't make enough money, and that's why you're living paycheck to paycheck. So total myth, 100,000% total myth. And this is because the reason I know this is a myth is because people have the tendency to live outside their means. And if you notice, or you've probably heard or you've seen, people simply get a raise, right? They get a raise at their job, and then all of a sudden they start making this extra money, but they're not getting any further ahead. And it's all because they don't know how to live within their means. They already were living paycheck to paycheck, and now they got this raise, and life is opening up a little bit. You know, they had a new door open for them. They're making more money, but they just start to spend more. And so if you think about it, the average person, let's say they make $1,000 of income in a month, right? Why would this person's expenses equal $980 a month? It shouldn't, right? It should not. They're set up for failure, and they've just never really learned how to manage money, and that's set up for failure. You've got to make finances a priority in your life. It's got to be important for you, important to you, for you to be successful with it, right? So first off, building wealth is not going to start if you fall into one of those categories where you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're barely making it by. You're barely scraping by. You're not going to be able to start building wealth because of the simple fact that you just don't have anything extra, right? You have nothing extra every month. Like you've got your income is equal or just about equal to your expenses, and you're not going to be able to start building wealth like that. So the reason why I said number one is budget like you mean it. The easiest way to get control of this is to budget your money, right? You've got to build a budget. You've got to follow a budget. You got to build a budget. You got to follow a budget. And that budget is the simplest tool that can help you see exactly what categories you're overspending. It can help you begin to have more excess cash in the month. And then that excess cash can begin to help you start to invest into your future, build wealth, and actually start to get to where you want to be. So I have many videos on budgeting, but specifically the 50-30-20 budget strategy is the one that I push a lot of new budgeters to utilize. So look down in the description below, and I've got the link to that video. So that can help get you started. If you're not familiar with budgeting, if you're not familiar with how much do I put into this category? How much do I, that'll answer all your questions. So just go check out that video if you have any, if this is budgeting is new to you. So this also, during this budgeting time, is also the time where you should dive into cutting expenses. So you've got your budget created, you followed that 50-30-20, you got your budget created, and now all of a sudden you're starting to see where you're overspending, and you're starting to see where you're spending things you no longer use, like that Netflix subscription. Haha, I got you. I called it out. Nah. This is a real good call out. Maybe like a gym membership. COVID bod. But yeah, if you're not using your gym membership, it's easier just to work out at home, right? If you're paying for a gym membership, it's easy just to work out at home. It's just as good. There's tons of workouts that you can just do at home for free. So if you're not utilizing these things, close them, cancel them, get rid of them. That's an easy cut of expenses. But you've got to cut expenses because this is all the stuff that's holding you back from being where you want to be. So build the budget, cut the expenses, and all of a sudden you can start to see some of this money free up, and you may even get another quote unquote pay raise because all that free extra money is just going to look like you have a ton of extra cash, and it's really the same as what you already had, but you just stop wasting it on things that are just that wasted category. So number one was budget like you mean it. Number two, we've got to wipe out all the debt. So if you're in debt, this section is specifically for you. You've got to, so number one, stop signs up, boom, stop signs up, you're done. No more debt. This is how you're going to achieve the financial freedom. I want you to know, if you currently have debt, you've got to get out of that position. You've got to get out of that debt position. And it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself financially. And I know you're probably thinking like, duh, dude. I mean, everyone knows that being in debt is bad. Like, I mean, you don't have to tell me that. I already knew that. But that's not really what I mean. Like, yeah, that's a good thing. You know, that's the best thing. That's a great thing you can do for yourself financially. But what I really love about talking to people or seeing people that have just come out of debt, that have just gotten out of debt, is the lessons they learned while they were there. So while you're in debt, there's a lot of things that you learn. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn about a lot about where you were wasting money. You learn a lot about some of that self-talk that I went over last week in the Overcoming Setbacks. A lot of that self-talk, you can start to see where some of your self-talk cost you extra money. You learn a lot about yourself during that piece of debt time. And that's at the Financial Mirror here. Like, I really like to focus on you understanding you. Like, really understanding that your financial outcome is all dependent on the actions that you take. It has nothing to do with government programs. It has nothing to do with your if you have a bachelor's degree. It really has nothing to do with any of that. It has all to do with the actions and decisions that you make. So knowing that, those learning opportunities that come with the simple fact of you getting yourself out of debt are priceless, 100% priceless, and those will carry you on with you through your financial journey. But it could be lessons learned, like you stop buying things you don't need, and you identify the things that you know you're more prone to buy that you don't need. You stop using debt for that instant gratification. You really start thinking hard about the financial decisions that you're making, and that's some of those lessons that you learn while you're getting yourself out of debt, that is really worth learning. Like, those are worth learning. Don't try to shortcut your debt by praying that the federal government, you know, throws out student loans and all that. Like, just attack your debt. It's your debt. You earned that debt. You signed up for that debt. Attack it. You can get rid of it. It doesn't have to be like looming over your head. You can get rid of it. I'm telling you. You gotta make it a priority. So types of debt are, I'm just going to hit a couple, because if any of these bad debt categories are impacting your life, you got to get you out of them. So credit card debt, personal loans, auto loans, payday loans, student loans, all these things are bad debt. They're bad debt. And all of those categories that I just said, so student loans is a huge. Some people say it's good debt. Some people say it's bad debt. I am a huge believer in doing everything you can to go to school debt free. There's lots of ways out there to go to school debt free. I'm not going to get on a tangent, but what I always encourage anyone that I talk to do is to go to a school you can afford. Really try to dive into things that you can afford and use that, because if your degree is only going to pay you a $30,000 salary, but it took you $400,000 to get there. Well, yeah, you kind of were set up for failure in that, right? I mean, you're getting a $30,000 a year salary, and it took you $400,000 of student loans to get there. That's not really good return on your investment right there. So it's bad debt. Student loans are really bad debt, and it's sold really bad. And I'm not going to get on a tangent. One day I'm going to do an episode just on student loans, so stick around for that. Stick around for it. I've got some good stuff for that. But take the time to do the math for your debt, right? Add up. So this is what I want you to do. I'm challenging you to do this. If you're in debt and you're listening, do this. I want you to add up how much you're spending each month on any of those bad debts that I just mentioned. I want you to add up, and I want that number to be your wake-up call. I want you to look at that number, whether it's $1,000, whether it's $500, whether it's $100. I want you to look at that number, and I want that to be your wake-up call. I want that to be the spot that says, that's how much money you're wasting that could be free cash each month that could be utilized toward your financial freedom. And that number doesn't even accumulate how much of that is actually going toward principal versus interest. Like, I just want you to look at how much money is coming out of your account every month to pay for this thing, because that's free cash. That's money that you have the ability to start putting into your wealth, because that's not a living expense. Debt is not a living expense. So that's free cash that you're going to open up to yourself just by getting out of this debt that's looming over your head. So like I said, I put up the stop sign earlier. Boom, stop sign's up. Stop the bleeding. You've got to stop the bleeding. There's so many ways for you to attack your debt and get rid of it for good. And I'm a huge fan of debt snowball. That's the debt payoff method that I push, but I've done a video on multiple options. So look down in the description, and there's a link to one that I did that I sort of go over a couple different methods in one, and that'll sort of give you an overview of which one you may be more inclined to use, and then you can look more into getting more information on that versus just taking my word that debt snowball is your best route, because there's other routes out there, and some are better than others, so are better for others, right? So once you get done with that part, this is where it gets fun, trust me. So hang in there. So we've budgeted like we mean it. We've got that budget down. We're wiping out all of our debt. All right. So we got to kick off the investments. So if you're still paying off debt, I want to mention this first. If you're still at number 2, paying off debt, there's only one thing that I recommend in terms of actually kicking off your investments, and that's if your employer does a matching, employer matching on your 401k, if and only if they match. Contribute enough to get the full match. So if they match the first 5%, contribute 5%. If they match the first 3%, contribute 3%. But I do recommend you to invest in that way if you're still in debt, but only up to the match. But take the free money in your investment account, and into your retirement account, just only up to the match. Don't do anything more than that. That to me, the payoff for that is it way outweighs the reward of paying off a little sooner on the debt, only because of the compound interest is going to come over time of you doing that constant investing into that 401k. So now let's say that you're already through your debt and you're ready to start investing. So this is where this gets fun. I'm telling you, this gets fun. You've destroyed the debt and you're ready to start investing. I want you to know that investing is not as stressful and as foreign as people like to think it is. It's really not. So I want you to know this. That it is actually one of the easiest and most enjoyable steps that you'll make when you first start building wealth, right? Easy and fun. What sounds better than that? So easy and fun. It's great. I'm telling you, it's great. There's nothing better than waking up in the morning or just finished eating dinner and looking at your account, or out on a vacation and look at your account, and all of a sudden your money's just growing. You're not punching a time clock. You're not doing anything. Your money's just growing, and you're watching it, right? It's fun. So how do you do it? Dogecoin. Just kidding. That is not how you do it. Oh, Dogecoin. That's been an interesting thing. I don't know. I thought about doing an episode on Dogecoin, but that episode may not be relevant in a year, and it may not be relevant in 3 months. I don't know. It may be relevant forever. I don't know. But Dogecoin. Anyways, so how do you do it? Well, you can do stocks, which is individual stocks. They can be all wrapped into ETFs, which are exchange traded funds. You can do mutual funds. You can do options, stock options. You can do real estate investing. You can do there's tons of things out there, right? Tons of things out there of ways you can invest your money. But I'm going to go over what I call easy investing. Like, this is just the easiest 4-step approach. So you've got 4 steps to achieve financial freedom, but inside of this kicking off your investments, you got 4 steps to kick off your investments. So I'm going to run through them. Number 1, open a brokerage account. All right. It's simple. This step takes less than 30 minutes. There's multiple platforms out there. Here's you a couple to just look up. M1 Finance, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, Ally Invest. That's just some examples. I'm not affiliated with any of these that pay me to recommend them. I'm just going off of what is currently probably the top mutual fund brokerages out there. So if you are interested in investing in that route, hit up, just Google one of those. Maybe something else pops up that you're more interested in. But step 1 is open that brokerage account. So step 2 is you have to determine which mutual fund you want to invest in. And that can be done. Morningstar is where you can do a lot of mutual fund research. But what I want you to focus on in this easy investing strategy is I want you to focus on large blend funds. That's a great place to start. I'm going to tell you why. So the large part of that word means that these are top U.S. Companies in the market in terms of capitalization. So that large is gonna mean that these funds are going to be normally tied into the companies like Google and Apple and Amazon and companies like that, right? Companies that you've heard of is going to be what these funds are investing in. And then blend, you normally have 2 types of funds. You normally have growth funds and value funds. What the blend does is it sort of takes a more moderate risk at investing. It doesn't really focus on blend or value, but it's sort of just a conglomeration of the two. So it's perfect for easy investing. It's perfect for just an easy investing strategy. So number 1 was open your brokerage account. Number 2, find out which fund you want to invest in. Large blend funds specifically, but look at some other funds. Just want to take this time to give out my disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give you financial advice. This is all stuff that you are to do because that's something you want to do. I'm just giving you simple guidelines and strategies that can be utilized to start investing and kick off your wealth building. Just a guideline, not here to give you financial advice. All right. But open a brokerage account, find the fund that you would like to invest in. Large blend funds are a great place to start. Number 3, step 3 is to transfer the money from your checking account into your brokerage account. So go ahead and transfer that money over. That'll probably take a day or 2 for it to all go through, funds to settle, to be able to actually invest into the fund. And then step 4 is to actually buy into that mutual fund. So depending on what platform you use, that's what funds you should be sort of looking at. And I say that to say this. So if you're using Fidelity, buying Fidelity funds is ideal. And the reason is because they do charge transaction fees. If you start, like if I have like Charles Schwab account, I try to buy a Fidelity fund, Charles Schwab may charge me like a $49 or $59 or $69 fee for every time that I buy or sell. So you want to be cognizant of that, because that's free money you're giving away. So if you see that you want a Fidelity fund, maybe Fidelity should be the brokerage account you should use. If you see you want a Charles Schwab fund or a TD Ameritrade fund or a whatever fund like Vanguard fund, like any of those, you should just go and use that brokerage platform and just invest that way. So find funds that your brokerage platform doesn't charge you a fee for. It doesn't. Sometimes platforms they partner with others, and these will be called no fee transactions. So when that happens, you can sort of sort within your platform by no fee funds, and they'll be able to give you some of those that they've partnered with. It may not be Fidelity funds on Fidelity, but it may be some other fund that they have on there. So there's a link in the description below where I did a good walkthrough on funds using Morningstar, so forth and so on. So check down the link below for that walkthrough. Number 4, last but not least, you've got to dive into your financial education. So this is where you begin to enhance the knowledge around topics. So you're budgeting, you're building that muscle. You're every month you're building a budget. You're following your budget. You've destroyed your debt. You're not getting any new debt, and you've kickstarted your investments using that easy investing strategy. So number 4 is just where this whole umbrella just opens up. Everything sort of opens up for you to do things that you want to do. So if this is where you're at in your journey, great. This is where it's fun. This is where it's just, you have the most fun. This is where you want to be. Because this is where you find topics that are interesting to you and you use those to make money off of. So Maybe if buying stocks is fun to you, maybe you want to start looking at more stock investing, and you want to start, maybe buying some courses that can help you get better at stock investing using fundamental analysis or technical analysis or some other kind of buying strategy for stocks where you're buying individual stocks, you're playing the market on an individual stock basis. Or maybe real estate is interesting. Well, invest in real estate investing courses. Go attend webinars. Go to real estate conferences. Start diving into real estate if that's something that interests you. If buying mutual funds is good enough for you, increase your knowledge around that. Pick better managed mutual funds. Start to increase the amount of money that you're making off mutual funds. But the big thing is you just have to continue to grow your knowledge. You have to continue to better yourself. Don't ever stop learning. So go read books about financial success. Read blog posts about increasing financial knowledge, investing or stocks. Just stay up to date on what's going on. Listen to podcasts about money right here, Financial Mirror. I'll continue to do episodes for people building their journey, in the middle of their journey, or finish that hard part of the journey, and they're at the fun stage. I'll continue to do episodes around everything. So don't stop. This is where you really can focus on what's fun for you, and doing what you want in terms of your wealth building strategy. And there's tons of wealth building strategies out there. Maybe you do a little bit of everything, but trying to focus on things that you can do to improve your financial well-being. So I want to wrap this up by saying this. Financial freedom, as I started at the very beginning of this, is the ability for you to do what you want to do in life without worrying about this whole money aspect of it. Okay. So if you want the life that most people dream, you're going to have to do things that most people don't. All right. So you'll hear people say, well, I'm getting invested in the stock market and I'm doing this. And I'm always question that, because I always am like, well, you're investing in the stock market. Some people invest in the stock market because that's their get out of debt strategy, and not thinking that they could lose every bit of the money they're putting in the stock market that could have helped start to begin to pay off that debt and start to take care of steps 1 or steps 2 and start to work into step 3, right? Like there's a method to this, and you can't try to shortchange this process. But if you'll follow it and you'll stick to it, you will live the life that you wanted. You will get to live out the dreams that you had. The only reason people don't get to where they want to be financially is the simple fact that they were either refuse to give up the consumer mentality, where they just have to have new stuff. They have to buy these things. Like they need this new stuff. And the fact that they just really are bad at managing money. And truthfully, it's sometimes this whole journey can be hard and uncomfortable. Like it can be, like it really can be. But if you really stick to it and you really work through it, it will truly pay off. You've got to know this isn't an overnight process. It's not going to just happen overnight. Like things are just not going to just all of a sudden just be, hunky dory and everything is just lovely. You got to focus on that longer term. That's very important to prevent you from feeling like that you failed, or that things are just not working out, because most investing strategies can take 5+ years and to get the results you hope. But when you open up an account that started as $1,000 and you wake up and it's $1,010, you did nothing for the $10. Don't be greedy. Be thankful. Your $1,000 is now $1,010. Like it's this idea of greed where if my $1,000 isn't $2,000, that's not enough, and it's not real. It's a fake dream. It's a fake life. If you get if your $1,000 account goes up $10, that was $10 free dollars. If your account goes up $3, that was $3 free dollars. Like you've got to not let greed blind you from seeing the little successes that are happening in your life. And finally, you're gonna have setbacks. Go rewatch last week's episode. Go listen to last week's episode on a podcast. But you're gonna have setbacks. You got to continue to think about how life will be when you're actually living this financially free life that you envision. What we started with I gave you some examples of what financial freedom may be to you, but only you know exactly what financial freedom is to you. So stay focused. And as I've always said, don't forget your why. Know why you're doing this stuff. And just want to close this out. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe. Go follow the channel. If you like the video, leave a comment. Those comments really go a long ways. I really enjoy reading them. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review and a written review that, to allow this information to continue to be spread to others. That really helps in terms of that. And all the comments, no matter what platform you listen to this on, no matter if you listen to the live stream, the podcast, whatever, it's always a blessing to hear from my listeners. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this whole series. I hope that this is sort of giving you some good information on a nice little segue of starting from just building out those goals, those simple goals, the plan that's going to be used to achieve those goals, really focusing on those setbacks that are going to set in, and then getting to this point where you're working through becoming financially free in your eyes. So I challenge you. So today, if you're listening to this, and I don't care if this is the live stream that you're listening to or this is the podcast you're listening to today, I want you to do something for me. I want you to go and I want you to share this with 2 people. So share this with 2 people today. Whatever day it is that you're listening to it, go and share this with 2 people and let them know that this series is one that can help take them from where they currently are to this idea of financially free if they'll go through the 4-week process. So once again, thank you for tuning in. And as always, peace. I'll see you next week.